Hi, everybody. It's Mike from Here the Watchmen. I am so excited today. We have with us on the show the world famous Mr. Josh Tolley. Josh, thanks for joining us today.
Mike, it is always good to talk to you, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And we were talking off camera. You're a new dad, and your wife has her first Mother's Day coming up this weekend. How's that all treating you?
Man, I have got to tell you, I love, love, love being a father. Absolutely love it. If I would have known it was this much fun, I would have done it years ago. It is such a blessing. It actually makes you appreciate your parents so much more, doesn't it? Because now, I'm getting up at 2 a.m. or whatever I'm doing, and I'm thinking, man, my parents did this? I need to take them out to dinner or something.
That's about the
Yeah,
size of it, man. That's for sure. Well, that's exciting stuff. Josh, I wanted to talk today. You and I love to just kind of rap and ramble. We never have anything planned. But I wanted to
okay.
talk a little bit today, if you will, about what's going on in the political arena today. I mean, Trump has the highest approval rating that he's ever had, but Pelosi's talking impeachment. Ocasio Cortez can't even figure out how to use a garbage disposal. And you've got the, what's her name from Minnesota with the burqa, is saying that it's our fault. Everything that goes on in the world is the Americans' fault, basically. What do you think is happening? I've never seen it like
Well, and
this.
don't forget, you also have that Brian Sims guy harassing old women and teenagers outside of a Planned Parenthood who are just there trying to protect women and babies while he's there being a old white bigot. So yeah, it's crazy, man. But we knew it was going to get here. I mean, what, 2, 3 years ago when we started talking, we said it's only going to get worse. It doesn't matter who you elect. It is going to get worse. And that's exactly what we're seeing. The societal decay of this country is getting worse. Yes, there are some people who are being great examples. Yes, there will always be a remnant, absolutely. But as a society, it is getting worse because we are now having, not only do 57% of Democrats support socialism, but so do 14% of Republicans. You have Republicans who are now supporting socialism. This would have been laughed off the Democratic stage when JFK was running for office. We have seriously jumped the proverbial shark, and it's not going to get better until we either crash, repent, or somehow have this come to Jesus moment as a country through, World War III or something.
I couldn't agree with you more, Josh. I mean, it's interesting to me to see just how far down the sewer we've actually gone. I mean, the things that are said now in politics, the things that are done. I mean, you look at. I'm sure you saw it all over the internet. Bernie Sanders at his honeymoon in Russia, no shirt, at a table, drinking
Yeah.
vodka and bashing the United States. And this man's running for president. You know,
Yeah. Not only is he running for president, he's insanely popular amongst the 30 and unders. And that's the thing we have to worry about too. I mean, this idea that, well, Bernie Sanders isn't going to win. Well, he might not, but we have to remember in the last election, Hillary had to rig it in order to get the votes away from Bernie. I mean, proven that guy was ripped off. And if we take the 30 and under votes, Bernie Sanders wins 50 out of 50 states.
oh,
50 out of 50. The only thing keeping us from turning into the Soviet Union is we still have some sane older people who are saying, oh, come on, are you kidding me? But what's going to happen in one more election cycle? And think about how quickly we got to 2020. I remember Trump's announcement in his hotel or tower or whatever, like it was yesterday. We now run presidential campaigns 8 years before they happen. So we need to be thinking about 2024 right now, not, oh, we'll worry about that in the future. No, they're teeing it up today.
yeah. I mean, and you're right. It's the 30 and under crowd. I mean, the move from the young people to go to a socialist society is frightening. And all you got to do is look at Venezuela. Take a look. Okay, that's what happens. and they're not getting that because in the schools today, and this segues into something I want to talk to you about. In the schools today, the kids are being taught this agenda, the Ocasio-Cortez agenda, and it's just frightening. On the topic of schooling, you were recently a speaker at a homeschooling conference. Talk to us about
Yes,
that
I was.
and why homeschooling is so important.
Well, homeschooling is one of those things where we think, it's 1960s. It's the Addams family. They're the creepy family on top of the hill, and they're the people to be avoided. But the reality is the exact opposite. Today, kids in public schools are the antisocial ones. Today, the kids in public schools are the ones that are what sociologists are calling cocooning. It's the odd kids today that are the ones in school. And if you don't believe me, look at the 30 and under crowd. Where did they come from? Public school. So we have to get back to this place where we're doing more either in private school or homeschool co-ops or some alternative form of education, because we have to get back to a place where we develop adults, not just babysit kids. And for the past 2 generations, school has been just to babysit kids. That's the whole purpose.
Well, the thought of homeschooling to a lot of us who are parents is frightening. Like, how do you do it? Now, when you spoke at this conference, is there a curriculum that's all put together so if you want to homeschool your children, you can sign up and go through it?
There are a number of really great homeschool curriculums. There's a number of them. There's classical Christian education curriculums. There's curriculums that use new tech. There's free curriculums, which is kind of the growing trend. They kind of sell it in the way that YouTube does, where you might have to watch a few ads, but you get the content then for free. But really, my perspective on it was to bring an entrepreneurial aspect to homeschooling, because homeschooling kids just to get better education and then to go into the employment world is never going to fix the problem anyway. We have to educate kids to do exactly what we used to do, which was teach them how to become entrepreneurs, because that's the foundation of a free society.
Yeah, amen to that. And I don't think we're doing that in the schools currently at all. And I don't think there's an example. The schools aren't holding up examples. They're holding up Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, they are.
So
they are,
and
they're teaching it though, Mike. I mean, when we teach kids, when we teach kids, they have to share. You are creating a Bernie Sanders. You're telling them, look, you have to give the ball, for example. My son was just in my office. So let's say you have a son and a daughter. You're telling the son, you have to share. You have to give the ball to your sister. And if you don't, me as the big, powerful third party is going to take from the one who has and give to the one who doesn't. And this is exactly what they grow up learning. And then they go vote. Who are they going to vote for? They're going to vote for the candidate that says, I'm going to take from the one who has and give to the one who doesn't. And if you don't share, you should be punished. And that's why we have a socialist society. It's not because Bernie Sanders exists. And this is a really key point. It's not because Bernie Sanders exists that we have a socialist society. We have a socialist society so Bernie Sanders has a voting base. These socialists were created by the parents. Those are the ones that created kids willing to vote for this guy. Your dad would have never voted for Bernie Sanders, regardless of how cool his message was, because he was a commie red. You don't vote for the commie.
Yeah, it's very true. And the parents are at fault. I mean, you and I have talked about this before, where, this generation, the 30 and unders right now, is the generation of every single kid gets a trophy. Even the last place team, we're all winners. They all get a trophy. No, they're in last place. They lost. They suck.
Right.
I mean,
right.
and it's like, but as parents, we in this past generation, it was give to the kids, make them feel special, make them feel unique. It's just, it sends it curls my hair. I mean, I get so upset when I talk about this. Now, you actually wrote a book. Many people are aware of it, Evangelopreneur. I butcher it every time I say the title.
Every time.
But we're talking in that book. We're talking self-employment for the remnant body. Talk to us about your book.
So the book was written to kind of fix this problem. I mean, when you look at where did parents start becoming overly, I guess, soft, it's when they started feeling guilty about being away from their kids for 40 hours a week. I mean, and really, these two things are intimately connected. When, your grandparents and every generation prior was raising kids, the kids were raised with grandma and grandpa as they were on the farm, with grandma and grandpa as they ran the store or the blacksmith shop or ran the dairy cart or whatever. Well, now we've separated our children so much that mom and dad go to work for 40, 50 hours a week, plus commute time, plus the networking events on Thursday and all that sort of stuff, where we started to have to pour on extra onto the kids. Well, if we can get back to being entrepreneurs as a family, that means we can get back to raising our own kids as opposed to just babysitting them until they turn 18, and we can create a more solid next generation. So Evangelopreneur is taking that concept of how free enterprise has always been and will always be the fuel for freedom, and taking that and applying it to a faith-based lifestyle as well, and creating a model and a replicatable example as to how you can become an entrepreneur and get your family back. And that's the reason why my son was just in the office, and it's in the middle of the day, and I was playing with him until you called. So there's a benefit to that.
There's a real benefit to it. Folks, I don't know why this happens when Josh and I do an interview, but his video is frozen, but he's what a handsome guy. So just listen to him and look at his face on there, and hopefully it'll catch up to us here. So Josh, you're not just blowing smoke, because you actually take your own advice. You have the Purple Monkey Garage. Talk to us about Purple Monkey Garage.
Purple Monkey Garage was developed and designed to help businesses. I mean, our motto is fixing businesses and repairing lives. And our entire foundation was on the fact that a lot of people who start businesses don't know how to start them. And a lot of people in business have a lot of pride. When you ask most people, how's business going, they say, fine, I'm doing great. I don't need any help. Well, the reality is that 8 out of 10 businesses are failing. 8 out of 10. So that's an 80% chance that the person that just told me that is lying. So we created a company that works like a garage. I am not a fan of coaches and consultants. I think they're usually a waste. So what I wanted to create was the first place where you could take your business just like you would take your car. If your car is making a weird sound, you don't take it to an automotive coach. You don't take it to an automotive consultant who tells you, well, just tell yourself you can fix it. Look at yourself in the mirror every day, and, that's not how this whole thing works. You take it someplace, and they fix it for you. Well, we created Purple Monkey Garage to be that place where people can bring their family business or their medium-sized business or even their large business, and we'll actually fix it for them.
Wow, that's exciting. And is this just in one location in the country, or are there several?
That's a great question. We are rapidly growing. We just got a relationship that put us not only in the United States but around the world. We're going to be doing our first round of business fixes in Barcelona in October. So we're nationwide, but now we're starting to become international as well, because the problem's international.
Sure.
The more employment got spread across Western society, the more family decay happened, the more church abandonment happened. You can link the lack of entrepreneurship with the lack of people in pews on Sunday. So this is really an all-encompassing sort of topic that we're addressing, fixing, and now spreading.
Wow, that's exciting stuff. And then you've got another business that you've got going, and I understand that's taking you on the racing circuit around the country. Talk to us about that.
So, for all the sports car fans out there, we have a relationship with SRO, SRO is the premier sports car racing organization in the world now. And we have sponsored that organization with 3 of our companies. We sponsored it with Shift Capital, we sponsored it with Purple Monkey Garage, and we sponsored it with Kavana Rum. And we actually have a $500,000 prize that we're offering for these drivers, because a lot of people don't understand in the racing world, even at the highest of high levels, most of those drivers are paying to be in those seats. We have this impression that they're being paid like other professional athletes, and they're not. So when you offer a driver who might win $7,000, and I'm not exaggerating, for winning a race that cost at least $80,000 to run, they start paying attention to the prize money.
Josh?
Mike?
Okay, there we go.
You hear me, Mike?
Yeah, I gotcha. I got you right. Well, you stopped it. It was costing them $80,000 to be in the race.
Oh yeah. It costs a ton of money to be in the race, and they'll only win $7,000 if they win. So when we come along with a $500,000 prize, it started getting people's attention and really, gave these people something to shoot for, and the response has been quite amazing.
Amazing. I mean, that is really exciting stuff. And how do people find you? Where do they go to find out all this great stuff you're doing?
Well, hopefully at future Hear the Watchmen conferences. That's the best place to find me. They can find me at joshtolley.com, purplemonkeygarage.com, shift-capital.com, any of those, or just Google me. They'll find me.
Yeah, you can't miss him. He's out there everywhere, folks. Avail yourself of what Josh has to offer. He's got some really good stuff. And by the way, I can't let this interview go without saying May 31st to June 2nd, Long Island, New York. It's the Hear the Watchman Russ Dizdar Spiritual Warfare Training Workshop. Intense sessions. Now, if you can't make it there, go to our website. You can get a DVD set, pre-order it, or you can live stream and on demand it. You'll have it for 3 months, so you have time to go back and study. HearTheWatchMen.com. Josh, thanks so much for taking time out of your day to join us.
Mike, it is always great joining you, and I want to urge people to go to that conference as well. We had Russ Dizdar on the show, I think it was 2 years ago, and to this day, every week, we get testimonies from people who've interacted with him or need to interact with him or something. So definitely get to that conference that you're doing, and every Hear the Watchman conference that's available to you, because it is such a way to build a cohesive body. One of the things I like about what you guys are doing is you break down denominational walls. And it's this wonderful picture of when Jesus says, Father, let them be one as you and I are one. You guys are doing that in a way that most people who put on conferences and host events have no clue how to do. So my hat's off to you, man. You are doing it better than anybody else I'm watching right now.
Well, thank you so much, Josh. I really appreciate those kind words. Folks, that's going to do it today for our show. And as we always say here on the Watchman's Report, don't forget, there's nothing that you can't do with Jesus in your heart, except nothing at all. Get out there, get busy, activate your faith, and make a difference. We'll see you next time here on the Watchman's Report.